1,
2,
3.
1.
2.
It's fine. I could deal with that.
What's up, guys? Welcome to A Cast for Crows, our Game of Thrones inspired podcast here on deadscreen.net. This week we are back to discuss Season 7, Episode 4, titled The Spoils of War. I am Albert Joseph.
I'm Drew.
Alexa.
Drew.
And Felipe.
Special guest Felipe, my cousin.
Special guest Felipe, Alexa's cousin. Welcome to the show. I guess to start off, we have some differing opinions on the episode as a whole, it seems.
Yeah, because Andy's dumb.
I, for one, kind
No.
of thought it was one of the better episodes of the series, to be honest. But, Andy, what did you think?
So, my complaints come with near the end of the episode, so I can either complain about it now, or I can complain about it later.
Just complain later. Let's just get started. Obviously, Andy's dumb, and it was the best episode, so whatever.
I'm not saying that it was a bad episode. I really thought it was a great episode. There was just a fundamentally non-Game of Thrones component that bugged me.
Okay, well, we'll get to that later, I guess.
Okay, so I guess we'll keep the suspense for the listeners until then. And I guess we're going to start off in Winterfell, where we got another Stark reunion. We have 3 Starks together now for the first time, I think, since Season 1.
It'll be 4 eventually when Jon comes back.
Will
Well,
it?
He's not a Stark.
Will it?
He's not
Yeah,
a Stark.
He's
He's
not
not a Stark, because Lyanna's a Stark.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got the reunion of Arya, Sansa, and Bran all together. And
Sort of
at-
Bran.
Sick
Bran, at
of
least,
Bran's shit. Like,
Thank
I don't
you.
know how else to say it.
Shall we start with that then? Bran's
Yeah, let's go with
conversation
that.
with Mera,
He's
which
a
didn't
broken
go well.
computer boy. I'm over it. His character's not interesting anymore. Like, what he can do is interesting, but we're not seeing that. All we're seeing is the uninteresting side.
Yeah, it is interesting what he can do, but yeah, you're totally right. He's being a total boring little emo kid.
Yeah, I'm not about it.
He did have the conversation with Littlefinger where Littlefinger gave him the dagger that was once used to kill him. And my question, first off, is where did Littlefinger get a hold of that exact dagger?
Yeah, I think that was kind of weird. I didn't really put like a lot of thought into it to try figuring out where he got it from. But I think it's also weird, like how Arya said, like, why does a cutthroat have Valyrian steel? So there's something a little fishy there.
Yeah, but didn't they have all that conversation in, like, season 2 or whatever?
Probably, yeah.
I thought-
Wasn't it someone sent by? I think it was someone sent by Tywin, but I think it's just interesting. I just know that this dagger is supposed to be really important, and I'm pretty sure we saw it in Sam's book at the Citadel. We briefly saw the dagger.
So do you think, like, Arya's gonna kill a White Walker?
I think it's totally possible. I don't know what you guys think.
I thought that I don't know. Like, I feel like she's gonna kill Littlefinger with that dagger.
I think that's very possible too. I think she might kill Littlefinger. I think once Bran pretty much reveals that he knows everything and that
Yeah.
Littlefinger definitely was the culprit for Ned's demise.
Because wasn't Arya the one who, like, saw it?
Yeah, she
Or did
was.
they both see it?
She saw it, but she didn't see necessarily that Littlefinger was in any way involved.
No, I know, but I meant she had if she was, like, saw Ned get beheaded and finds out that Littlefinger was basically the result of that, like, and she's the one who can fight, I feel like she's just gonna kill him with that dagger, and it's gonna be all one of those.
I think
moments.
going back to the conversation that Bran had with Littlefinger, he was being very I know what you did. Like, even just saying the line that he had said before, chaos is a ladder.
Yeah,
That's
I had to
something
look that up.
Yeah,
because
I saw that in a recap information.
he
I don't know, I
said
just
that,
watched
and I was
the
like,
final.
okay. And Littlefinger looked like he was shitting his pants after he said it, and I was like, why is this such a big deal? And I had to go look it up, and then it made sense. But
Yeah,
as
because
a
you only said that to Sansa, right?
Yeah, I think
yeah,
he said that to
something like
Sansa.
that.
So I think he's kind of I know a lot of stuff, and that's why he was being really weird with he's being weird in general, but he was being very antagonistic with Littlefinger, kind of being
Yeah.
yeah, you want to protect us, that's what you want.
It's a pretty interesting dynamic because Littlefinger is just like Varys in that he always prides himself in that his biggest strength is knowing everything. But, now nobody knows more stuff than Bran does.
Yeah,
Like, apparently Bran knows
true.
everything. So, he probably has Littlefinger figured out pretty well at this point.
I think a number of people actually do, which is interesting to see this because I think Sansa also has him pretty figured out. And I think for once he's like kind of getting like nervous that he's not ahead of the game for once.
Does he? I think we talked about this in one of the earlier episodes. But like, does he know anything, or is he just kind of like chilling there? Like, I can't tell if he knows anything right now.
Yeah.
Normally, I feel
don't
like he has a
know.
bunch of shit up his sleeve, but right now, I feel like he's just kind of there.
I think
Yeah,
he's being
that's what
kind
I
of
think.
useless right now, but and just kind of creeping on Sansa.
I mean, he's always been doing that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now that's his sole purpose is to creep on Sansa.
I'm ready for his storyline to have some sort of conclusion.
I'm
one
ready
way or the
for
other.
Littlefinger to just die.
Yeah, I'm ready for lots of things like that to happen. But
Yeah, so I know
Alas.
we briefly wanted to discuss the line that Mira said, basically saying you died in that cave. So what do we think about that? Do we think he actually did die in that cave? Do we think that Bran... Because he also said that he's not really Bran anymore. So I'd love
I mean,
to
I don't
see what
think
that
he-
means.
I don't think he like died, but I think like what it sort of entailed was that he was Brandon Stark before, and now he's whatever the heck he's supposed to be. This like, all knowing everything person. And so Bran, as the like sole entity, is not really a huge part or not really important anymore since he knows and feels everything throughout time or whatever his deal is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Yeah.
think he's dead. I just think like
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's physically dead, but I think that line held a little more weight than what it, like, just seems. I think it kind of is explaining, and, like, maybe this is just me being, like, going into crackpot things, and I haven't read any theories about this, but I think what tends to happen with when you become the
Raven.
Three-Eyed Raven is that perhaps the past Three-Eyed Ravens kind of become, like, you kind of become one with them. So he kind of lost a lot of his Bran Starkness because he's
Yeah,
other
I feel like-
people too.
yeah. I think that's what I was trying to
Yeah.
say. I feel that he just got through the. He's always been Bran, and it like we said this earlier on that he just sort of was weird all of a sudden, and I think this helps us be more okay with his weirdness.
Yeah.
You know, because we're going, oh, okay, I get it. Because last season he was Bran doing the Three-Eyed Raven stuff, but now he's like mostly Three-Eyed Raven. It's sort of he like kind of went through this transformation, and it helps us deal with his being an annoying piece of shit.
See, yeah, I think because, I mean, he did become the Three-Eyed Raven last season, and we didn't really see this major transformation. But I think it's because he's in close proximity of one of those trees, and it kind of just,
Oh yeah, that's right.
kind
The
of did
crying
everything
blood
for
tree.
yeah, cause like, and every time he goes there, it gets weirder. Like every time he goes to one of those trees, he just like becomes less and less like himself. So I feel like maybe being around that tree is kind of just like making all this happen. So I don't know, but I do think that there is like a part of him that kind of disappeared once he kind of absorbed these other personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean,
I think
all-
like even him just I think him just even saying like I remember what it feels like to be Bran Stark, but it doesn't really like matter anymore.
Mhm.
Like I think
He's-
that's part of it too.
He's just a new entity,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of like this godlike, all-knowing creature who just like doesn't care anymore.
I don't know. I think a big thing for that episode was with the three Starks back in Winterfell, but none of them are
The same.
even close to what they were. That was what they were before.
Which I think is
Like-
kind of interesting because I was sorry. I think it's just kind of interesting because Sansa's the most normal one of them all now. Like Jon died, Bran is Bran, and Arya's like this badass assassin, and she's just kind of like, what the hell happened to my family?
Yeah. So they're all back there, but they're all very, very different, and yeah, probably not very safe because we can't have too much happiness.
Yeah, it does seem like it is making me a little nervous. But it was a lovely moment to see, like, Brienne kind of just, like, smiling as she saw Arya come in and they're all just kind of together. And Podrick's like, you didn't fail her. Like, you did what Catelyn wanted. And she just like, oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
that was
liked
nice.
Arya during that fight scene a lot.
Yes,
'cause
that was amazing.
It wasn't like she was super intense about it. She was like laughing and having fun with it. It made her seem super awesome.
Yeah, it was really funny, too, when Brienne was like, who taught you that? And she was just like, no one.
Yeah.
But I think it was also really interesting because we saw Sansa's perspective, too. And I think it was interesting for her to see how badass Arya had become, but I think also there's like a part of it that she was like, she's finally become who she's like wanted to always be. And I hope that Sansa makes her like a knight, like Brienne.
I still wonder what Arya's going to do after this. Like, she's got a reunion now. Does she go south again, or does she stay there?
I feel like hopefully they'll all go and try to, I don't know. I don't know if they're all just going to do things together, or when they go off and fight against Cersei, which I'm assuming will eventually happen. Arya will just go and be like the head of the Kingsguard, or Brienne will, and she'll work with her or something. That's just where I feel like it's leading, that like Arya's going to be like one of the main people leading the fight against Cersei.
So, is that fight going to happen before they fight the White Walkers? What?
Yeah,
See, I don't
surely.
know.
I think it has to.
Yeah.
Like, I almost forgot.
It feels like it's never going to happen because Jon's
Yeah.
just like not about it, but I think it's coming to be closer and closer, and things are becoming clearer for him with Daenerys that like, you know, we got this thing, you got this thing, like we need to make this work somehow.
That was a great summary of the conversation.
Aren't I just amazing at this stuff? So, I mean, I guess with that we can move on to Dragonstone and go into more detail with what my summary meant.
Yeah, first off, we got to start with the little conversation between Jon and Davos when Davos asks him, so, what'd you think of her? And Jon says, she has a good heart. And Davos said, I saw you staring at her good heart.
There was a lot of, like,
Sexual
sexual
tension.
innuendo and
Yeah.
tension during, like,
Yep.
in that whole episode. Because even
Yeah.
with Daenerys and what's her name walking down the stairs,
Miss Sunday. Yeah.
yeah, she was kind of like, ooh,
Yeah, I saw
something
that too.
happened there.
Yeah, there
She
was
gave
like
that little
definitely
smile.
a
She was like,
little eye like action where it's kind of like, what's going on there, Daenerys? And they were just talking about Grey Worm, so it's kind of like, ooh, I'm talking about my man. Now you go get yours.
Yeah.
And I would love to point out that there's like there's sexual tension in a cave, and Jon has a history with caves.
Banging in caves.
So, but yeah, if we want to go into what was in the caves.
Yep, Andy, you
Andy
were
being
right
right
yet
was in
again.
the cave.
Andy, tell us
Yeah,
what
that's
was in the
right.
cave.
Yeah, Andy.
Stuff, not just dragon glass, like more
Stuff.
important stuff. Like I
You're
suggested
speaking
earlier on.
so eloquently today. It is amazing.
There's hieroglyphics, spirals and symbols and whatnot, and a very detailed drawing of the White Walkers with little blue pebbles in their eyes or whatever it was.
Yeah, see, I think that was really good because now Daenerys actually believes Jon that he's not just some like crazy person, because this is drawings from the Children of the Forest, which is from a long time ago.
Yeah, so that was the weird part to me, is like she obviously believes in dragons because she fucking has some, and she's like not about the White Walkers, but she seemed super on board with the Children of the Forest. So I have a hard time trying to figure out what people truly believe and what they think is sort of like this weird folklore stuff. You know?
I just want to know, like, do people generally believe in the Children of the Forest, or do they view them the same as White Walkers? Because I kind of just assumed that people believed in the Children of the Forest.
See, I assume the opposite.
If you remember back several seasons when Old Nan was still alive in Winterfell, she would tell the kids stories about the Children of the Forest in particular, and she said that a lot of people saw it as an old wives' tale these days, just because so much time has passed and no one really remembers them anymore.
Right.
So then why did that hold like a special meaning to her?
Yeah, that's why I was confused, because I assumed that, like you said, people thought there was an old wives' tale, but Daenerys was like, she was like, oh shit, the Children of the Forest. I believe now. But from the episode before, I feel like she wasn't feeling that way.
I don't know. Maybe it fed into the whole sexual tension thing, and she just decided to believe
She looked
him.
like she was about to kiss him when he was talking about that.
It was interesting. A couple of those shots had, every time it showed Daenerys, it was like really heavy on the fire, and every time it showed Jon, it was really heavy on like the coolness of the rocks and stuff. I just thought that was pretty cool.
Look at you noticing lighting. I did not notice that.
I didn't either.
Go back and watch. So it's really interesting. A lot of that scene, Daenerys, it has like the warmth of the light on her and in the backgrounds, and when it shows Jon, it shows more of the cool side of the rock. So it's like that fire and ice. But then when they walk out of the cave, it's inversed. The fire's on Jon's side, and Daenerys is walking on the cool side of the rock. And it's, I don't know, it was pretty cool for it being such like.
I'm sure it has a significance. I don't think it's just you making shit up. But
for such a big theme, it seemed very kind of in your face during that scene. Rewatch. Andy's right again. Don't worry about it.
I'll have to do that when I find a better stream.
I got you. I hook you up.
And at this point, is the only one who knows about how the White Walkers were created, Bran, or?
Yeah, I think so. No.
I would assume.
Probably, yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I guess.
I feel like Bran's the only one that knows about most
Yeah,
things in
he
this
knows
world.
everything.
Let's see. Alexa, you also wrote that we know Tyrion sucks at war.
Yeah, he does.
I'm a little bummed that he sucks.
He's a smart man, but I mean, he really has no, like, war knowledge at all. I mean, the only time he was ever in a war, he got cut in like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
I
but
feel like
he did do the dragon fire to win, right?
The wildfire.
The wildfire. That was all his plan, right?
I think it was.
yeah.
Well, that's the one time he did something good in war.
That's what I feel like throughout the last couple seasons. He's usually pretty on point with his plans. Like his plans tend to go the right way, and he's just like not doing a good job. Like he feels very worthless this season.
I feel like part of it is like subconsciously because he's fighting his family, because I think we got like a little glimpse of that.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, I don't think he's like actively trying to fail, but I think there's a part of him that's like not thinking as like rationally because he has to fight his family, specifically Jaime, because I don't think he gives a crap about Cersei.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that might be the emotional bond in there. But she comes out the cave and he's like, yeah, Casterly Rock. Woo! And then, but sorry, Highgarden.
And you hold like half your fleet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird. So leading up to before the final scene, we had like 7 seasons of Dany getting all prepped to come over here, and then she's all but over in the span of an episode and a half. Like she just gets decimated. And it felt very weird. You know, we watched her get prepped for 7 seasons, and like the span of a battle and a half, she's almost totally wiped out.
Yeah. I think it was interesting because this whole time we're kind of starting to assume that Daenerys is going to win and Cersei's going to die. And up until this episode, it was starting to feel like that wasn't going to happen anymore. But I think for now, like, this is the first time we see Daenerys actually getting the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And was the spear thing the only one? Like the one that shoots the dragon, was that just one of a kind, or
I think
are there
it's
more?
one of a kind, but I think it can be remade. But I don't. Yeah.
It's one of a kind with that army, but I expect there's probably a few more still in King's Landing.
Or if not, a few more being made, because it did seem like it took a while, so they might be in the process of being made. But, yeah. So, we can talk about that battle a little more in depth, instead of just randomly picking and choosing things about it.
My problem with this is that it was, I think, one of the most interesting and exciting battle scenes that we've had so far, but nobody died. And there were like 5 people put in a position where they should have died and they didn't. And when you watch Game of Thrones and people should die or shouldn't die, they normally die. And I think that too many people escaped in like a comical traditional TV show fashion, you know? And it was just very not Game of Thrones.
So,
If this episode happened in season 2, Jaime would be dead, Bronn would be dead, and a dragon would be dead. All three of those things would have died.
Those are the only people we care about dying, because we had a lot of people die. We just didn't care about them.
Right, but
I think it's
Bronn is
difficult
one of my
at this
favorites,
point.
and he needed to go there. He had
But
no
see,
business
we don't know that
surviving
he
it.
made it, because he jumped in the line of fire and we didn't see him.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he may
had
well
no-
be dead, actually.
Yeah, I don't-
he
like,
had
I don't know
no
if he made
business
it.
making it to that point.
I agree with that. Like, the way the scene played out was great, but it was so... They kind of made it obvious that Bronn was going to survive because they just kept showing the camera, like, from his angle running, and yet literally everyone's dying around him, and yet he's, like, the one person who is somehow miraculously missed.
He
Yeah.
felt it. I did not truly worry about him. Like, I was almost actively rooting for both of them to die because I didn't think they were going to, and that it just broke a Game of Thrones, like, something that I hold
Like
Game
a
of
Game of
Thrones in
Thrones
such
trope?
a high. Yeah, something that I hold as such like a valuable, important piece to that show because that's one of those things that elicits the most like emotional responses when you think your main characters are actually in danger, and I didn't feel like he was ever truly in danger.
Yeah,
It's like
it was interesting though because this is one of the first battles where I didn't want any of them to die. I was rooting
Oh,
for
man.
both
Yeah.
sides.
I was ready for them all to go down.
I know you want everyone to die, Andy, but for people who
like-
actually have a heart,
That would have been a good death for Bronn, assuming that he like really injures the dragon. That would have been a good death for him, and that would have been a halfway decent death for Jaime. And it would have had a major impact on Tyrion. Like I feel like it would have done a lot for all of those characters.
well, we also, and I'm not assuming that Jaime died because I think that would be a very anticlimactic death. But we also don't know that Jaime made it out alive. We don't know that Daenerys is going to let
he's
him
fine.
live.
Well,
like,
yeah,
we
he might
don't-
be another prisoner, but
Like, we don't really know. I think a lot of the episode ended on a semi-cliffhanger. I'm not concerned for his life. I'm also... Well, I'm not sure if I'm not concerned about Bronn. Because it did seem like he may have gotten singed. And he literally jumped and pushed him out of the way.
right. But even if at the beginning of the next episode it's Bronn like on his deathbed and he's like, "Oh, I saved you up," and then he dies, that's still's not like that's just a bummer of a death for him. Like he lived just long enough to do everything he needed to. The whole point of like I feel like the best part of Game of Thrones is nobody ever lives long enough to do what they need to do.
But at this
They all
point...
get real close and they can't do it.
Yeah, at this
But the
point, it's
point- the
difficult
point
to
of-
suggest that.
That's the point of being this late in the show, though, is that the characters that are left are being left alive so that most of them can accomplish what is set out for them. And that's why...
Because
Right.
the show's
Going
wrapping
back-
up.
No, I mean it all makes sense. This is definitely a personal preference of mine. I remember it was either last season or the season before when Jaime was in somewhere or other and all of the like sparrows or whatever they were came in.
Yeah.
And there was, yeah, I was like, is this it? He's gonna die right here, right? And I was like really worried about him in a random scene where in any normal TV show I wouldn't have been worried at all. And it's just gone like a complete, flip at this point because I'm watching him run at a dragon with a big spear, and I'm like, all right, how's he gonna make it out of this? Because they're not gonna kill him here. And I just don't like that. Like I've been listen to any podcast that we've ever done, I feel like I've brought it up, but I felt like I didn't have that during that battle, which was just a bit of a bummer.
I mean, do you think they're doing that on purpose to make you think nothing's gonna happen to them when they battle? So then next
I hope.
time,
Like,
next time they're
that's-
like gonna die.
Yeah, that's best case scenario, but it just felt like a bit of a letdown. But I know that's a Andy thing. I know it's not
Yeah.
a normal everybody else
See,
thing.
my thing is, like, I'm taking my theories as truth at this point, even though my theories haven't always been right. But, like, I'm assuming that Jaime has to kill Cersei. So until that happens,
Right.
I don't think he's going to die. In the same sense that I think that Jon is Azor Ahai. And until he completes his mission, I don't think he's going to die either. So that's
Right.
why it's kind of, like, I didn't necessarily fear for his life there. But I think that I feared for Bronn after, because we didn't see him.
Don't you wish you feared for his life?
I mean, I do, but I really want him to kill Cersei, so I don't really care.
Yeah,
See,
I feel you.
See, maybe I'm alone here, but through most of that entire battle, I didn't fear for Jaime's life until
Until the
Tyrion's
end.
commentary started up
Where he's
there
like,
at the
run,
end.
you
Yeah.
fool.
And that's
I-
that's when he's running toward Dany and the dragon, and I'm like, oh shit, this could actually happen now. Like at that point, Tyrion's talking, and I'm like, oh my god, are they actually going to do this now? So like right at the very end, I did fear for his life, and I was that's why I was shocked when the dive-in came at the end. I was like,
See,
whoa,
but there's
now that
also
was epic.
the slight chance that they use kind of this like little line that seemed like a throwaway line where it's like the more you have, the like easier or like the heavier you are. Where like that throwaway line could be like a lot because he has this really heavy armor with him. Like we don't know that he's gonna make it out of this.
Yeah, but even if he doesn't, that's like a bummer of
Yeah,
death.
I would think
Where,
it would
like,
be
at
an
the beginning of the next scene, he
anticlimactic
just
death.
drowns in a pond.
I need him to die in a like fire.
What, like
and
a dragon
flames.
blowing fire right in his face?
Yeah, like how he was meant to die in that scene. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel you.
is the commentary the old lady? I forgot her name. The Highgarden
Lady Olenna.
lady Alana, like
Olenna.
Elena of. I actually killed your kid. It wasn't Tyrion. Is that gonna play like an important role, or because if not, it's just useless.
I think it's just kind of like being like, I'm a badass. I'm gonna drink this poison now.
Yeah, I think it's just to give her the satisfaction, and Cersei will have to forever live knowing that Olenna did it, and that Cersei wasn't able to get revenge for that. Truly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting that we did briefly mention how, we see Tyrion at the end of the day still has an allegiance for his family, at least with Jaime.
Yeah,
So
I
I
think
wonder
it's
how
just
that's going
Jaime.
to play out in the event where Daenerys actually does try to kill Jaime.
Because she will.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to happen.
I mean, he'll always step in and try to do something the same way Jaime did it for him.
Yeah, but I think like that might not work out for him because he's not proving
anymore,
his
yeah.
allegiance to Daenerys, and right now he's kind of sucked at what he's done.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious to see how that's going to play out.
I don't know. I definitely really did like that battle as a whole. I thought it was good for both sides.
Such a good battle.
Yeah. For both sides, it showed that the dragons are,
A force to be reckoned with.
a huge problem, but it also shows that the thing that Qyburn was working on is going to work.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that the dragons are a problem, but it also shows that they're not invulnerable.
Right. So it made each side confident and worried.
Yeah.
It did a good job for both sides. I feel like both sides will leave that battle.
Yeah.
I mean, where are the other two dragons? Because they weren't.
Aren't they in Dragonstone?
Yeah, they were still at Dragonstone.
Oh, they were.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out was which dragon she was on.
Oh, she
It was
always rides
Drogon.
Drogon.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But then when Bronn whipped out the big crossbow thing, I was like, ooh, maybe he's gonna actually like drop a dragon. There's no
I
way
was like,
all three dragons survive.
oh no, I don't think so either.
Yeah,
But I
so
was
I
like,
thought you could-
I kept being like, oh, is Drogon gonna die? Like that's Daenerys' like
Yeah.
main dragon. Oh my god.
That's why I couldn't tell that it was Drogon. So I thought that maybe we'd lose a dragon at this battle. So then
I thought Drogon
Jaime
was a
gets
goner
back
for
and
sure.
goes. Yeah, Jaime
There's
gets back and goes.
also no guarantee that he's gonna totally make it. I mean, it did seem to seriously
Right.
wound him,
Right.
which would be a bummer because he's the only dragon I care about.
I think he'll be fine because the prophecy says there has to be 3 dragon riders, so I think we'll get at least one scene with 3 people riding a dragon at the same time.
Yeah, and it's like maybe I'm placing a lot of thought into like a theory, but there's a theory that kind of
dragon
indicates,
theory.
yeah, an ice dragon theory, and I don't really want to go into it in case it happens because I don't want to piss Andy off. But I think there's a possibility that there might be another dragon later on if it does
Where?
end up being that way.
The wall.
In the wall? Mm-hmm. Why?
That's just a theory. I'm not going to
How?
go into it too much.
Because it's magic. Dragons are magic.
Yeah.
The wall is pure magic, and then the dragons are fully magic. And they said, ever since the dragons died, there was no magic. So how come no dead man can pass the wall if there are no dragons?
But the
It's a theory. It's not necessarily one that holds a lot of like regard in the world, but I think it would be interesting because I think that, and this is me with my Azor Ahai thing, part of the prophecy says that that Azor Ahai like brings dragons from stone, and I just think that he has to in some way or another.
it's all too confusing, man.
Yeah, it's like it's a throwaway thing that might happen or might not happen. So I'm not entirely That's what I'm just saying. Like, I'm not entirely confident that all the dragons are going to survive.
Oh, there's no way they all survive.
But there do have to be 3 dragon riders.
I think they'll all die in the end, but I think Drogon will be fine for now.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm not entirely sure. I do, I don't know. It was interesting, though, because, like, as Andy was saying, we kind of get this, like, excitement and confidence, but then also fear on both sides. Because the second that arrow... Don't do it. The second the arrow shot up into the sky, Daenerys was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so, like, they know that their dragons are gonna, like, they can drop now. But Cersei also knows that she can kill a dragon, you know. Before it was just sort of like, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But now both sides know. But both sides know that those dragons could come in and, like, literally just burn everybody to crisp.
So, okay. I don't know if this is something we know the answer to, but has Drogon surpassed Valyrian the Dread in terms of size, or no?
No.
Nowhere
even
close,
close.
I don't think.
Okay. I just
What?
don't know if he's, like, really, really, really big, or, like, what. I just know he's a big freaking dragon.
It's supposed to be massive, like 5 times. No, not 5 times.
Okay. I'm just trying to
Couple times
understand,
bigger
like,
than
how
Drogon.
like how big Drogon is in terms of dragons that we know of in the past.
I don't know anything.
That's why I was
about
asking if that's something we would know or not.
I don't think it's impossible, or it's not possible for us to know right now. I just know, like, Balerion, that old dragon, was, like, just on a whole other level to these 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that is a possibility for the dragons if they continue to survive, because don't they continue to grow?
Yeah, they
I
never
think
stop
so.
growing.
Yeah.
So, okay. Just curious. I know that's not going to hold a lot of weight right now. And that's not something that we know too much, but it was just a curiosity thing.
Okay, so I think that pretty much covers most of what happened in this episode, but with so many cliffhangers, I guess it kind of begs us to talk about what we think was going to happen next week.
Okay. What do you think, Joe?
Ah, nice. I think Jaime's going to struggle to stay alive. I think he will. I have no idea how he's going to find a way out of it. I think he will live.
It's possible that Tyrion talks her into letting him live and just kind of be a prisoner.
I think it might be like up to Jon Snow, and then Tyrion convinces Jon Snow, because at this point, Daenerys is just taking from Jon Snow.
Yeah. Trusting his advice.
Yeah.
If
Well, I
Jon can
think
look away
Jon-
from her good heart long enough.
Yeah, but I do think that Jon Snow does take from his not actual father, but he's very honorable. And so I think he's not going to just kill someone for the sake of killing someone. Just because they suck. So I think it's possible that Tyrion will talk Jon Snow into letting him live. So I think it's a good little comment, Felipe.
Drew, what do you think? You get all the predictions right now, so...
Yeah.
I don't. I can just fall back to my patented I don't know, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I
I'm
feel
a
like
s-
Brienne is gonna die because she's like done. Like her purpose was fulfilled, right?
That's possible. I hope
I
not.
mean,
I
I
like
hope
her a
we
lot,
see-
but
I hope we see a lot of people drop soon, but in terms of the beginning of next episode, you know, I could see them capturing both Jaime and Bronn and finding a way to off Bronn but keep
I
Jaime
need people
alive.
to drop real fast because no one in my death pool has died. So
My death pool would have been everybody, please.
You didn't have any sand snakes in your death pool?
I don't know why that didn't occur to me.
Ugh.
But
That
thing
was a
is, it only
gimme.
counted if they were all. I mean, like we do know that Tyann's gonna die, but it only counted if they all died in that.
They're all.
pool. I know they
she's-
all
she's
going
dead.
to die, but I'm just saying. I
Nah,
think that was
she's
part of
dead.
why I didn't risk it because I didn't think that they were all going to die.
I mean, the mother isn't going to die in
She's
like
not
a
a
while.
sand snake though.
Oh, she's not.
No,
I don't know,
sand
I could
snakes are
see-
Oberyn's bastards.
I could see John. I could see Dany coming back and being like, "Yo, John, I'll help you out with all your nonsense, but can we just go take care of Cersei real quick?" And then
You
they
know
go do
what would
that.
honestly make
we get
things a
that out
lot
of the way.
easier, and like we could see it happening. If they get married, he doesn't have to bend the knee, and they're like their houses unite, and like, boom. It just makes sense to me. If they get married, that's it. Like, they can do their thing, you can do my thing, we can do our things, and no one has to worry about bending the knee.
Why not just bend it?
Because he doesn't want to, like, betray the people that he promised to serve, and I don't think any of them would want to serve a Targaryen.
He would piss off the North, and
And
he
he would lose his people.
Yeah, he risks losing their support for
Yeah,
the
but
war.
I feel like everything he's done up there, he's just gotten to the point where he's like, none of the old stuff matters because there's demons coming. That's why there's half the people up here are wildlings, sort of thing.
I think someone's going to figure out that they just need to get married, and they just do it.
So if he comes back and goes, hey, I bent my knee and now, I call her queen, everybody will be like, oh, but why? And I'll be like, there's demon people walking our way. Just deal with it. And they'll go, oh, okay, like everything else we've already done that for. It just doesn't, he seems really hung up on it, but he's also walked in and everybody's been like, that's not how we do things. And he goes, well, that's dumb. Here's how we're going to do things. And everybody
He's
goes,
like,
oh, okay.
I'm king, deal with it.
Yeah, I just feel like it wouldn't be that big of a deal if he just did it and then came
Oh,
back
I
and they all
definitely
yelled
think
at
it
him.
would be a major
And then
deal.
he goes, it
because
doesn't
she's a
matter because
Targaryen.
there's demons.
I don't think it would be a big deal with the lords. I would think it'd be a bigger deal with the wildlings because they chose him as their king as wildlings and
Not Daenerys.
Not Daenerys.
I don't know. I think it just kind of be a big deal because they all hated the Mad King, so. And they don't know Daenerys. They just need to get married. That's it. That's the solution. I've said it.
Plus, I think there's only like one wildling left that we care about. Isn't that Tormund?
Tormund.
And he'll pretty
yeah.
much do whatever. He'll side with Jon no matter what. I think.
Yeah, he's had a pretty quiet season so far.
That's because he's in Eastwatch by the Sea, and they're going there next episode, so.
Are they? I don't know.
How
that.
do you know
They-
this? Spoilers.
Because they said it in the previews. They showed them going to Eastwatch by the Sea.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
like
I didn't get-
I
Bran
missed the
Bran saw the
White Walkers were all there,
White
so they need
Walkers
to
went,
kind of. Isn't Eastwatch by the Sea where
River.
the ocean meets the whatever meets the land,
sea.
and that's all frozen, so they're totally screwed if they just walk around it.
If it was that, I guess it probably will be. I'm just wondering if it's that easy. Why have they not done it before?
I mean, I hope it's not that easy because then that kind of defeats the purpose of like the magic of the wall. And if the wall's magic is only like the wall, then that's dumb. But also, people are also saying that because, I don't know if it's because of Jon having died that he's there, or that he went there that it kind of could have invalidated the magic, or because of Bran was touched by the Night King that it could have invalidated the magic. So I don't know. If that's the case, that's dumb, but it's possible.
But Jon didn't die on the other side of the wall, so he can't go north of the wall at this point.
Okay, that's true. Well, Bran was touched by the Night King, so I think that might be the thing that people are saying.
He wasn't really touched. It was a dream.
But he still was touched. He had the burn.
Isn't that how they got over that little thing to get into the children of the forest hut?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, I don't know. I just know that there's a theory that it could have invalidated the magic, and that'd be dumb. So. But
Are
it
we gonna
seems
see any
like...
more of the Hound?
Isn't he north of the wall? Or trying to get north of the wall?
I don't know. We saw him for a little bit in like episode 1, and then we haven't heard from him since.
He's with the Brotherhood without banners, but we don't know exactly
Yeah.
where they are.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know if they're maybe going to Eastwatch by the Sea, too.
Guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, I won't be here to discuss it next episode, so...
Boo.
Boo!
Boo.
Yep.
All right, well, I think that about wraps up our discussion of the spoils of war. Thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at DeadScreenNet and at AcastForCrows. And want to say a special thank you to Alexa's cousin Felipe for joining us. Anything you'd like to close out with?
Vela Morgulis, everyone.
Yes!
That's perfect.